Welcome to the review of Kamen Rider Zio DX Ziku Driver. There are two versions of this that you can buy. There's this one that comes with Zio's Ridewatch, of course. There's also a second box that comes also with Geiz Ride Watch, as well as a separate watch holder thingy that goes on your arm. Now you can buy that watch holder thingy separately. That comes with the Ghost Ride Watch. So if you want to have the complete experience, you want to get that big box and the Ghost Ride Watch. I didn't do that because it was too expensive. I wasn't going to cosplay as Zio anyway, so I don't need to wear them on my arms. There is a green one coming out for the third rider that's just a holder thingy. So you can still sort of have watches on each arm if you don't get that big box. It's absolutely fine. I guess I will pick up the Ghost one eventually, but I'm not in a hurry. If I don't see it, I'm not too bothered. It is Ghost after all, one of the worst Kamen Rider series of all time. But I did pick up the Geiz one that we'll also take a look in this video. So this box is definitely smaller than previous DX Rider belts. It's a lot shorter, and that's because the overall driver is kind of smaller, and this box in particular doesn't come with any holder, and by default previous rider belts do have a holder thingy to go on the belt to hold extra, extra lock seats, extra gazettes and all that. Inside the box, of course, I have the Ziku driver itself. You have the belt straps, back belt holder decoration, whatever you want to call it, and the Zio watch itself. As for all the DX Ride watches themselves, they come in this sort of a squarish box on the front, but you got this chop out panel there. And all cardboard and stuff. And if you're not too careful, the candy toy version of the boxes are the same. And quite annoyingly, I have this whole Hong Kong warning sticker on the back that's covered up a little bit, but whatever. I recommend opening this box from this side, as on the curved side, you've got these little triangles in there, which is a little bit more annoying to close the box if you intend to keep the box itself. Little hole there for making it easier to pull this box out. There's instruction sheet inside. You have the Ridewatch in the baggie and this little tab that you pull out to release the batteries. The way the batteries work is rotate this anti-clockwise, counterclockwise, pull it out. You get these two holes there, put a pen in one of them, and you can slide this panel down and remove the batteries. The Ziku driver itself is definitely smaller than previous rider belts. They've been getting more and more bulky over time, and it's nice to see one that's smaller again, even though when you do attach the ride watches, it's going to get bulky again. What we have here is transparent, sort of creamy white plastic, with some green and silver details painted on, and the black plastic is also slightly transparent. You can actually see that the circuitry inside, and even that's somewhat of a gimmick because you can see the wires actually twist around each other and makes a very visually nice display. The back end here, this piece of plastic is a more sort of gunmetal plastic, and you got the button on top, and the Ziku driver itself, all the electronics are in this front chunk, whereas this back chunk is just sort of holding it, and it's there to activate the spinning gimmick and all that good stuff. The button is hidden underneath, and there are some more molded details underneath as well. There are some nice little green line details that you don't see too often under certain angles. The front screen is quite nice and shiny. You got these two sticker sheets, one on top, one on the bottom. Chrome paints. The speaker hole is somewhat visible right center there, but it's okay, I suppose. I wish it was hidden somewhere else, but oh well. The interesting thing is, even if you do cover this up, the sound doesn't really seem to be that muffled, so there must be some other holes in this toy for the sound to come out from. The belt straps themselves are pretty standard, just more sort of darkish grey silver with a black plastic belt. The back piece is also very simple, just like previous DX stuff. Honestly, there's not much changed here. The spinning gimmick on this thing does work, but you need to put some force in it, and it doesn't work if there isn't a watch in there because there's not enough weight. Here we do have a ride watch in, and we push this, the scene comes down a little bit more, and then it's just to hold it and just do the big spin. You see that it spins all the way around, so that's good. Let's do that one more time. Push the button and you should be able to spin it all the way around. There we go. And of course, with that spinning gimmick, it's good that these things are locked in place, and to unlock it you have a little green button there to pull these ride watches out. But of course, for the most part, the sounds come from the ride watches themselves, meaning that only really you got the standby sound, or perhaps the final attack sound. As you can see here, the belt itself really doesn't have any sounds. It's got the standby sound and the clicking sound, and for the most part, most of the gimmick is just the LED screen. All of the sounds come pretty much from the ride watches themselves. This is very similar to, say, the Geiz and Goku driver or Genesis driver, whereas you do get a little bit of sound, a little bit coloring from the belts. Most of it's from the lock seats themselves. That's good because there's not really any limit to how many ride watches they can release. They can release a favorite character that you want further down the line, or a movie character for next year, and it would still work. Of course, the LED combinations are limited because they all have to be pre-programmed in, but seeing from a video online, he unlocked more than about 120 up to 130 different LED screen names that come up, including Super Sentai, all of the Showa Kamen Rider names, or the Heisei names, Heisei Ultimate forms, secondary riders, all the way back to DN. No birth or beasts and all that, but DN had all the X8 riders, all the build riders, of course, and plenty other names like Dark Rider, Evil, and all that, or Kamen Rider, and Merry Christmas, of course. So there's a lot of names already pre-programmed in there that would definitely fit pretty much any combination that they can throw at this thing. I'm gonna just quickly demo the Ziku driver itself without any sounds from the ride watches. As you see in that video, the Ziku driver really doesn't have that many sounds, but depending on different ride watches, it will show different combinations of colors in the LED screen itself to match the rider armor that you're doing. So that's pretty interesting, and for the most part you do have Geiz and Zio, but I'm not sure. From what I've seen online, I don't think a third or fourth rider will be using this, since we already know from the toy catalog as well, the third rider will be using a different driver himself, although his ride watches will fit in this Ziku driver as well. So we'll see what kind of combinations we can get from that. Moving on to the ride watch itself, when you first get it out, just put on this tag. It should come up quite easily, and the batteries should be activated. So here is Zio's watch. Just pull that plastic tag out and you would have activated the batteries inside. In order to change the batteries, like I said, you just open this up, push one of the tabs, and there you go. You can just plug this back in. So here we are, we have this faceplate here. It's got Zio's logo, it's got 2018, that's his year. All the other riders will have these logos and names there. Twist this over, and it's got a little clicky sound on there, but it doesn't actually activate any electronics. What does activate electronics is you've got this button on top right there, and you got these two side buttons. this button right there, and these are activate the different combinations of things that would do when it's in the driver, very similar to how the gâchettes or lock seats would work. So let's demo this. So in its default mode, it has 3 different sound effects. Now we're going to demo this. I'm going to keep the Ziku driver off so you can just hear the sounds from the old Ridewatch. See it start flashing there. Push this button. It's Satu, so final attack, push this button. So he actually waited. There was a slight pause before it said time break, and that depends on whatever Kamen Rider like Ridewatch you have in there. It will say one word like that's related to them. The Ridewatch there will say one word that's related to them before time break. So it's like something else time break, which okay gives it a little bit of a gimmick. But yeah, so overall, really not too much going on with this belt. Unlike Unlike the lock seats have far more sounds in them. Each lock seat has 3 different attacks, and you actually have different controls and combinations with them. So this one has a bit less, but that's fine, I suppose. On to Geiz. Now he does have a different mode for this front panel there, but everything else is still the same. 2068, that's just like his future time, and moving over there you have his face. So. So, overall, what do I think about this driver? Well, the LED gimmick is pretty nice. It's got different colors, it displays the different names and such. Pretty cool indeed. The look of the driver is also quite nice. It's not too bulky, it actually looks like a piece of technology. The wires underneath also showing up is pretty ingenious. I like that a lot. So that's pretty cool. While the belt itself doesn't have too much playability, it is important for you to activate all the sounds from the DX Ride Watches, and the spinning gimmick, while not that conventional, a little bit weird, a little bit off, is still a lot of fun to play around with. But the Ziku driver does have its problems. A lot of the times when I slide the Ridewatch in, it doesn't trigger the sound effects. Why? It's because the plastic dots on the back, you need to really push it down when you slide it in to make sure it hits all the tabs correctly, or else the Ziku driver won't recognize the Ridewatch, and that would mean that you gotta pull it out and stick it back in again. It can get quite annoying. There's also a few times when I activated the spin function and it didn't trigger the Ridewatch. It triggered the belt itself to, you know, do the next step of the henshin sequence. So that really sucks, because when you have a rider belt, what's the most important function that it should do? And that's the henshin sequence. That's the whole point of buying these belts, is that you can, you know, cosplay or relive the transforming sequence. And if it fails doing that, it's like a cleaner who can't clean. The White Watches themselves are, let's be honest here, they are cutting their budget. With, apart from Geiz, with most of the Ride Watches having the exact same mold, yeah, that's money saving right there. Some people didn't care about the lock seats too much, but hey, every single one of them was unique and does produce more sounds than these Ride Watches. Even the gashats have more going on. Here you just have a mask printed on there, and it just has one light inside. I mean, yeah, gashats also only have one light, but they feel like there's more stuff going on because you have a whole little a fake LED screen, and if you layer it up with the power-up forms, you can get different nice combinations and different colors as well. I can't help but feel like gashats are a little bit more fun, and lock seats are definitely way more fun than the Ride Watches here. Ride Watches themselves also don't have a second henshin sound. Think about it, gashats do. When you put a gashat into the second slot, or the third, second slot of the to do a level 3 henshin, it does a different jingle, different music, and it was kind of cool to discover what other sound there was that didn't show up in the show itself. Here, it's just the only difference is that instead of saying ride time, it says armor time, and then the rest of the jingle is the same, and that becomes quite boring. Aside from Zio and Gates, the secondary ones, like the rider armor stuff, they don't have any final attack sounds. Gashats and lock seats have that. These don't. They only say one word and it links into the Zio's regular attack sound, and that kind of sucks. Another thing with these Ride Watches is when you do put them into your gun or sword weapon, again, they only say one word. It doesn't really do too much. Overall, the belt itself is pretty nice, although there are some issues with the quality of how the things slide in and missing the buttons hits, and that's a little bit annoying. The White Watches do look kind of nice, but as an anniversary series, they're definitely cutting corners here, because I guess Bandai knows you're gonna buy it because it's the anniversary series, and that's a little bit annoying. So overall, if you get this for less than regular price, if you're not in a hurry, wait a bit before picking this up, because this is an anniversary series. There's gonna be more batches of this coming out. Be a little bit patient, don't need to rush too much. As for the Ride Watches themselves, again, they have more than one release, more than one batch of products, at least coming to Hong Kong, so wherever else they're selling it, they're going to have more than one wave of release anyway. So once again, don't need to hurry too much, just make sure you get yourself a good deal. So what about the future of the Ride Watches? Well, there are a few annoying things here. For the past few years, we've been quite lucky where gashats, lock seats, and whatever other accessories aren't locked to a certain item, and that's great, but here they are. The Den-O Ride Watch, the DX1, is locked away together with the Ride Bucket, I guess. It's another Ride Bucket. It's like a little bucket tower for you to plug all the Ride Watches in there in a sort of semi-display. You can get that with the Den-O Watch, as well as separate ones without the Den-O Watch to extend the base, and you need to buy at least 4 of those to have all of the main Heisei riders to plug onto there, because one of them can only plug in, the first one can plug in 7 because there's 6 on the side and 1 on top, and the rest of them just have 6 on the side. So do your math there. 3 is not enough. You need the 4th one to plug all of them in. The old Ridewatch is stuck with the Time Machine toy, which if you don't buy the Rider Kick figures is pretty pointless. Plus, the Rider Kick figures are smaller, about a head or head and a half shorter than SH Figuarts, so your Figuarts can't use the Time Machine. That sucks, but that thing comes with the old Ridewatch, so what are you gonna do? Like I said, the Ghost Ridewatch was locked away with the arm thing, but I don't mind picking that up, so I think that's kinda okay. So with all that said, I do believe that there are going to be further DX Ridewatches locked away with other items, and that can become quite frustrating. So what do you do if you don't want the DX one? There's the Candy and Capsule Toys ones, right? Well, this year the Candy and Capsule Toys seem to be the exact same thing. Candy Toy Set 1, and then Set 2 is a Capsule one, Set 3 is back to Candy Toy, etc, rotating. But there's a problem with the Candy Toy or Capsule Toy version of the Ridewatches. So what did they do this time to make the Capsule and Candy Toy versions a budget version of the Ridewatch? Well, first of all, if you have a Candy Toy version of it, the top button does not work. It's just there. There's no electronics. You can't actually push it down. Second of all, the face plate here is a single piece. It's all molded in. There's no rotating of the faceplate for the Candy Toy or Capsule Toy version. It is right there, and there's no lights. So you can't get the little logo or the year that it's in. All you get is the base faceplate and just a sticker there. And another thing is they actually have a molding injection point right underneath the sticker of the Candy Toy version. They got a little air bubble bump there, which is very distracting right on top in the middle. That kind of sucks. So what do you have? Well, on the back of the Candy Toy versions, you have one button in there, and that one button triggers all 4 sounds. And unlike a lock seed, those 4 sounds are not programmed in a certain way where you can cycle through it or keep the thing in the belt and just have the different attacks. It's gone back to Gaia memory years, and that means that the 4 buttons just go in order. So in order to do a proper henshin, you need to push the Ridewatch first, and then a second time for the description phase, plug it in the belt, do the henshin, and then when you want to do an attack, push, do the attack once. But then after that, it has to cycle through all over again. So what do you do? What do you do with a Candy Toy Ridewatch if you want to go back and do a second attack? You got to make sure that you push the button. You got to rotate the belt 3 times, and on the 4th one, and then you get it again. But then that doesn't mix with the DX one, because the DX one is going to keep triggering every time you spin the belt. So it's just not convenient. It makes no sense. Especially with the belt sometimes not triggering things properly when you're spinning it around. It's going to get really frustrating really fast. So in conclusion, if you do decide to pick up the Candy Toy version, they are a quarter of the price of the DX ones. But only really pick it up if you just want to have something on display, because the toy part of it is not that nice, and even display is not that nice because you don't get the other year or the twist action. So there's really not much to play around with the Candy Toy and Capsule Toy versions. Though those are gonna suck, and I'm not gonna pick up any single one of them. The good news is some special ones that come with like clothing items or special, spend how much money and you get it. Those seem to be DX ones, and certain special releases all seem to be DX ones. So I guess you can pick those up. So yay. Another thing we've seen from Toy Catalog is there's already going to be special Ridewatches for their second power-up form, kind of like the Sparkling for Build. Those look kind of cool. I will pick those up for review. They're kind of interesting. But this whole Candy Toy Capsule Toy version, it does worry me a bit. Like if they do release like an anniversary box set of all the Showa Riders, are they going to suffer as well? Because in the past years, when we do get Showa Rider specials, they were capsule qualities, so that's very worrying. This third rider's belt does look quite interesting, and I guess once I see him in the show, I'll decide if I want to pick it up. I'm leaning on the side of picking it up, because so far the show seems quite good, and the rider suit designs are quite good, so I am definitely interested in that second belt for the show. So there you go, the belt itself is quite fun, and the DX Ridewatches are alright. They're not as great as previous year's DX stuff, but they're okay. As for the Candy Toy and Capsule Toy stuff, stay away from those whatsoever. Maybe that should, hopefully if enough people stay away from them, they'll send a message to Bandai to not be so lazy and budget cutting. Not so lazy and cost cutting. As always, leave a comment below how you feel about this driver and how you feel about the Ridewatches. Press the like button if you haven't done so already, and of course, to support this channel, please watch with ad block turned off. As always, you can also support this channel via Patreon. Take care, have a nice day. I will see you guys soon. Bye bye now.